Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a great day and your weekend's off to a great start. Today I'm sharing with you the 10 cards I'm making with the Spellbinders March 2019 card kit of the month. It's called Relax and Enjoy. Super kind of like a spa themey kind of a kit, at least in my opinion. But for today I'm creating 10 cards, and if you missed the unboxing I'll link it up above. And I'll link the kit down below in the description area for you. So for card number 1, we already jumped in. I trimmed down that wood grain panel to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then this piece here that has the little windows on it is slightly smaller than my wood grain panel. This way I have a little bit of a wood grain border. But everything that I use today is just products from the kit, although I do bring in my own glue, some extra foam adhesive, and then I did use a couple of my distress oxide inks along with some Strathmore Bristol smooth cardstock. With that being said, I have some ephemera pieces. This is a little newspaper, super cute. And then I have the sentiment strip that came in the ephemera pack that says, "What should we do today?" Since I'm going to use the die cut out today, I thought we'd just chop off the rest of the sentiment that says today. That way it just reads, "What should we do today?" If that makes any sense. Okay, I adhered the first part of my sentiment to this purple polka dot strip. This was a border that came in the ephemera pack. And then I'm going to use my foam squares, and we're going to pop up our today sentiment and place that on a landscape style card. Now I already adhered my panel to my card base, and all 10 card bases today, I'm using the pre-scored and folded card bases that came with the kit. Now I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive behind the sentiment, and then I'm going to tuck it underneath the D and the Y just a little bit. And then just to add a little extra purple, I'm going to use my little purple flower here that was the ephemera piece. I just chopped it off a little bit so I could tuck it behind my sentiment. For bells and whistles, we're going to add a few of the sequins. I just poured them out into my little dish there. And that finishes off card number 1. Nice little everyday card. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 2. This is, I'm going to call my spa card. I'm going to use some of the pale green cardstock that came in the kit and die cut out my Relax and Enjoy. And then I have the leaf flourish and the butterfly. I'm going to cut out 3 leaf flourishes and 2 butterflies with white cardstock that came in the kit. Once everything is die cut, I grabbed a few ephemera pieces. I thought for my sentiment we would use one of the tickets. I had to separate them, but it says "Live for Today." And then I did trim down a piece of 3 inches by 4 inches piece of pattern paper with the stripes on it. I'm just going to add my double-sided tape and tape this to the bottom of my card base. And then to cover my seam, I'm going to use my little copper scallop strip that came in the ephemera pack. After we have that adhered, we're going to trim off the excess, and then I'll take my Relax and my ampersand and we're going to glue that to the top portion of our card base. And kind of using my succulent here as a guide. I didn't press down all the way yet. I wanted to make sure I got good placement first. Then I'll press down real good. That way I have the first part of my sentiment. Kind of positioning my succulent, trimming off the excess, and then we'll flip it around and add some foam tape behind here. Here's where I brought in my own foam tape. This was a pretty large succulent, and I thought I can get better coverage with my foam tape here. Now we're going to go ahead and add our sentiment ticket that says "Live for Today." And then we already added our little white flourishes. I thought white would really look like kind of a spa color, so I went with white flourish. Then I went ahead and added my butterflies. I just tacked the center of the butterfly and fluffed the wings up, so we have a little dimension there. But that finishes off my spa card. Relax and live for today. Okay, for card number 3, this is where I'm using my Distress Oxide inks and some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. We're going to create a card using the Cacti die, and so I'm shading in with peeled paint and shabby shutters. And then I'm just using the ink that's on my blending tools to create a pink background. This one had a little bit of vintage photo on it, and then I'm adding one that had worn lipstick, and then I believe my last one here I added picked raspberry. So it kind of created a corally color. Next we're going to grab our cacti die, and there's a lot of bits and pieces to create, and this was so fun for me. So I have the flowers, the small cactus, the large cactus, and the cactus detail. And then with white cardstock, I'm going to die cut out a couple of butterflies and a couple of those little flowers there. And then also, I'm going to cut out with green cardstock, the pale green, the flora, just one of the flourishes. Now we get to assemble our cactus, and this is so therapeutic for me. I think this is so relaxing. I'm adhering the top piece of my cactus, the detail piece, to the background. I'm doing that to the large and the small. And you can see here I cut out 2 sets of the small one. And then we'll build our little flowers. For the center of the flowers, I'm using the itty bitty, I think these are meant to be cactus flowers, but I thought they would be pretty centers. So we'll add those to our white flower. And then the flowers themselves, you could actually create a succulent with those dies because of the way the flowers are shaped. But anyway, we are doing the cactus flower here in the kind of a corally color. We're layering them both together. We'll dot the center of our white flowers with our little white centers. And then we're going to build our cactus. I'm adding a little glue behind one of the small ones. We'll attach that to the very top of the larger cacti piece. And then we'll take the second smaller cactus and we're going to adhere that to the front portion of our cactus. Now there's little pricklies that you could die cut, and they're like little X's. Super cute. I'm just adding dots of glue, and then using my tool-in-one, I'm going to add each one of my little pricklies to the small and the large cactus. Super detailed. I thought it was so fun. Once we have all of these adhered, we're going to take our little cacti flower and glue those to our smaller cactus, give them a little bit of color. The flowers kind of remind me of a jam that my mother used to make with cactus thingy majiggers. But anyway, okay, for my sentiment, I'm going to use this little sticker from the ephemera pack. It's called Random Act of Kindness. I'm just taping down my sentiment ephemera piece to my cactus. This way I can flip them both over together. Then I'm adding some foam squares behind my little flowers. I went ahead and kind of arranged them all over my card. And then I decided to go in and use one of the vellum stickers. These ones are in the dark brown. This one says, "Live life outside the lines." And I just matted it on white cardstock and added that also. Okay, for card number 4, I wanted to use the terrarium, so I'm going to die cut out 2 with white cardstock. But instead of using them like a terrarium, I thought it'd be fun to use them like a little vase. So these ephemera pieces fit perfectly on the inside of each of my aquariums. Oh my goodness, my daughter's going to the aquarium, and so I have aquarium on the mind, but I meant terrarium. Okay, once I have my planters adhered, I'm going to take a piece of this stripe paper. I trimmed it down to about a 1 1/4 inch strip. We'll go ahead and adhere this to our card base, to the lower portion of our card base. And then I also trimmed down a piece of the wood grain pattern paper, and the size of that is about a 1/2 inch strip. I'm going to angle off the left side, and then we're going to tape this down over a portion of the seam on our stripe paper. And then I wanted to add a little copper accent to the card, so I'm going to use the little scallop copper piece here. We'll add a little bit of glue behind it, and then this time I'm going to place it to the left of my card base. So the wood grain's towards the right and my copper piece toward the left. Kind of balance it out a little bit. I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind my terrariums, and then I did use the ephemera piece that says "Be Happy." I just popped that up with foam tape along with this little wood grain heart. And then for bells and whistles, we're going to add a few of the little sequins. Figuring out my placement, and then I'll go ahead and glue them down. And then that finishes off that card. Now for card number 5, I thought we'd make a coffee card. There's this pattern paper in the paper pad that has real faint coffee cups in the background with white hearts. So I'm trimming this panel down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to just use the grid paper on this pattern paper here. Using my double-sided adhesive, I'll go ahead and tape this down to my card base. It's going to leave me a little bit of a white border on my card base, and I kind of like that on my cards. After we have, got to make sure it's the right side up, I'm going to go ahead and add my grid line pattern paper. And for my sentiment, we're going to use the stamp set. There's a sentiment in stamp set that says relax and enjoy your day. I decided just to stamp it with my VersaFine ink, and then I'm going to separate the words. Since I'm going to use the ampersand die cut piece, we don't need that and in our sentiment. So using my paper trimmer, I'm just going to separate them so I have a relaxed sentiment and enjoy your day sentiment. Now I already adhered my takeout coffee cup, and using my foam squares I added my ampersand. We're going to go ahead and add our little coffee mug to the lower right corner using some foam adhesive. And then we went ahead and added our sentiment. I put relax on the top and then enjoy your day on the bottom. But I'm going to leave my card like that, and that finishes off card 5, my coffee card. Now for card number 6, boy, this card turned out so pretty, but I was all over the place with it. So bear with me. I love this pattern paper, and I wanted to really showcase the succulents on this paper. So I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to trim down, trimming around a few of the succulents, creating kind of like a decorative edge. Now once I have it trimmed down, I thought I would be using the copper specialty cardstock that came in the kit, but I ended up changing my mind with it. I thought it just didn't showcase the beautiful succulents. So here I thought I would add it to a piece of the pale blue cardstock that came in this month's kit. I just trimmed it down so it was 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now next I'm going to take, there's only 2 pieces of this pattern paper, so I was stingy with it. But I trimmed down the inside pieces of the succulents that I trimmed around. That way I have a little bit of dimension on my card, and I think it turned out fantastic. Now if you wanted to even do it 3 times, I think it would be gorgeous. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel to my card base. We're going to make a landscape style card. And then for my sentiment, I'm going to use some of the vellum stickers. I chose Hello Sunshine, and I thought we would do a happy birthday card. So we're going to stick down both of our stickers to a piece of white cardstock, and then I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border around them and block them off. I did add foam tape behind them, and I placed them on my card base. Here's where I changed my mind again. I just didn't like, there's too much blue, and my flowers just weren't standing out the way I wanted them to. So I decided I was going to go and leave a little blue border around the top edge of my succulents, and then I decided just to trim it all off, which was not a bad thing, because I think with the pattern paper it could use a little bit of stability, especially if I'm going to pop it up. But when I removed it, I destroyed my card base, and so good thing there was an extra white sheet of cardstock. I just cut it in half to create another card base. Okay, and I was very happy with the outcome with this. I thought my succulents kind of shined, but I added one of my vellum butterflies, and that finishes off my problem card. It's probably one of my favorites. My happy birthday card. But for card number 7, I'm going to take this pattern paper, there's drawers on it, and I'm going to just trim down 2 sets, and then I'll go ahead and flip it over, use my double-sided adhesive, and we'll tape that down to our card base, kind of offsetting it a little bit to the left. Next, I'm going to use some of this purple pattern paper. I'm going to fishtail the end, and then using this ephemera piece that I did already chop off the left side of it, I'm going to tack that down to my card base. I did add foam adhesive behind my Let It Grow ephemera piece there. I thought it needed something else, so I did add one of my cactus ephemera pieces, and that butterfly came apart, so I just glued it back together. But I added 2 of my purple butterflies, and it looks like a lot going on, but it was a fairly simple card. I think it turned out really pretty. I love the earthiness of it. But that's card 7. For card number 8, this floral pattern paper is just gorgeous, so I trimmed down a panel that again is 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base, and I did cut out a 1-inch strip of the purple pattern paper here. It's kind of a tongue twister. Purple pattern paper. Once I have my floral pattern adhered, I'm going to use this journaling tag. I'm going to trim out the banner that's on it. The banner on this is so pretty. It says, "Love the little things." Once I have that trimmed out, I do have the butterfly in the ephemera pack that's almost the same color as my little banner there. So I thought we'd put that on this card today. I'm going to use a little bit of tape to adhere my sentiment banner to my purple banner. Line it up, and then I'll just trim off the excess, and that way it's one piece and I can add dimensional adhesive behind it. I did a 180 with this card and decided to do a landscape style card. I just added my banners, a little glue behind my butterfly, fluffed up the wings. I was going to add the vellum butterfly, but I like the color of this one. But that finishes off that card. A pretty simple card, but it's super pretty. Now for card number 9, I'm going to use this pattern paper. I just wanted the lines that were in the center of this pattern paper. I went ahead and adhered that to my card base, and then I added some foam or double-sided tape behind my first little ephemera rose, and then for the second ephemera rose I attached the sentiment here that says, "A girl should be 2 things, who and what she wants." And it's by C&CT. I thought that would be real soft and pretty with those pink roses. I did add foam tape behind there too. But I did die cut out 3 of the flourishes with the copper specialty cardstock. Just kind of figuring out my placement and where I want them to go, using a little bit of glue on the very bottom. And then I'm going to bring in a rose-colored butterfly, place that on my little panel, keeping my card a little real soft. And then that finishes off that card. My Chanel card. It says number 2 on the very top. It'd be cute if it said number 5. Okay. For my final card today, I wanted to use little houses in the ephemera pack, and since there's 2 of every one, I thought we'd use all 6. I trimmed down this piece of copper cardstock so it will fit on the inside of my card base here, and I believe it's 3 inches by 4 inches. Just remove the release paper, add that to the center of my card base. And then for my houses, 3 of them I want to add double-sided tape to, and then the other 3 I added foam tape to. So we have a little bit of dimension in the forefront. The ones in the back I'm using the double-sided tape with. But after those are adhered, I'm going to use another ephemera piece. For my sentiment, I chose Relax and Enjoy Your Day. Added a piece of foam tape behind there and add that to the bottom. And then for bells and whistles, we're going to use the rest of the sequins. I used every last one. And then I thought it was missing something, so I went in and grabbed a few of the vellum stickers. The top one there says "Hello Gorgeous," and then the bottom one says "Note to Self." But I matted those on some white cardstock and left a little bit of a white border. But that finishes off card number 10. Now it's time to look at all 10 cards that I made with the Spellbinders March 2019 card kit of the month. It's called Relax and Enjoy. If you guys are interested in this kit, I'll leave links down below for you guys. But super spa themed kit. I really enjoyed it. There's a little bit of everything in here. There's my problem card. But I think, again, I think that's my favorite. But if you mix the unboxing, again, I'll link it at the end. And I hope you enjoyed my cards today, guys. For close-up and still shots, be sure and visit my blog. That way it's just maybe a little bit larger and clearer in case you're interested. But I wish you a lovely day, a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.